it's so easy in this group. You might think we're starting late, but actually, no. We started already because Sharna handed out popcorn. Yeah, welcome everybody to spin event number 90. Sharna here. Sharna, passionate about many things. Book publishing is one of them. Doing things efficiently and doing it the right way is probably another thing. That's why we have her here for the book, I guess.
Yes.
There are a few other little announcements before we can start. There will be spin committee elections. The elections themselves will be at the next spin event. There will be an email going out on the mailing list probably tomorrow that will explain the procedure. Basically, the way it works is we ask everybody who is interested in being part of a member of the spin committee to nominate him or herself. Why would it be interesting to be a spin committee member? Well, it's a lot of fun. It's quite easy to do actually. Spin is a very lightweight organization. Spin doesn't really handle any money. That's why we combine sponsors with food, so we don't have to deal with them. So basically the sponsors pay in food directly or some wine. It's a lot of fun. It's great networking opportunities. You get to know great people like Sharna. What else? There will probably be some of the committee members of this year will still be committee members next year. So Dale is one of them. If you want to get Dale to know a little bit better, then well, join the committee. Am I missing anything on the committee?
Fame and fortune. Maybe fame.
I'm not. Maybe. If Card says this, it must be right. I would like to welcome KRS, one of our sponsors, and Polymorph, the other sponsors. So KRS is responsible for the food, and Polymorph is responsible for the wine. If it's all going to be alright, I'm going to check that later. Cara probably wants to say a few words about KRS in a moment. And I think that's it from my side. So I would like to hand over to Cara.
Thanks. I'm just going to say a couple of words. One of those popcorn rocks. Awesome, well done. Yep, it's very nice for carriers to be able to sponsor an event that's about Scrum but outside of the normal software environment. And we hope that that food actually is okay afterwards. Enjoy, and really, it's really awesome to see Sharna, who I've met through the Agile community over the last year and a half or so. Really awesome to see her speak, so I'm really glad to be part of and associated with that.
Thank you, Cora. So, I'm going to be doing a story about Scrum, publishing, design, and popcorn. I'm going to start off with a quote of Emerson. It says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave it trail." Welcome, my name is Sammy. And I'm going to be doing this presentation in the format of a movie, hence the popcorn. So we've got it in there's 4 phases that I'll be taking you through. So the first phase is the deleted scenes. The next phase is the actual story, the play. And the next one is going to take a little bit of pause just to kind of go through some thoughts, background thoughts. And then the last phase is behind the scenes. So, deleted scenes. Oh, and welcome to Read Me, or Masters of Me. Okay, so this was my first idea or the concept that I had for this presentation. I'm not sure if this is the actual feeling, this design, and shapes. I've never worked with a developer before. I would like to someday, possibly. But this is one of the ideas I had, and I thought it's really important to actually show the things that you want to fill out of your concepts or your presentations, and don't just trash it, because sometimes those things are really, important. So what I've done is I thought, okay, let me show you what I wanted to trash. So I wanted to draw out a list of designers, what they do, and draw out a list of developers and what they do, and sort of to show everybody the similarities that there are between the two. But that would have taken a bit of research for me from developers, because I don't know what they do that well. And then I thought, well, where would I be going with that kind of presentation? What lunch. And then I thought, you know what, perhaps that would be best for another day, another time. I don't think that this is the place for the site now. But that was one of the concepts that I was going to go with. My next concept I was going to go for the presentation was to talk about these big leaders in the industry, you know, just a kind of a motivational, inspirational talk about how these guys started out just like you and I. You know, some of them started out as developers and then built themselves up into these, you know, leaders. Like Steve Jobs, your Bill Gates, your Linux guy from Mixit that started Mixit, you know, so yeah, these guys were really looking. I thought it would be quite interesting to do motivational talk about them. Again, I thought, well, where would I go with this? And then I realized, you know what, the best story to tell is your own story. And that's what I decided to do. So, the best story I know is Scrum out of Inside Publishing and our software. So let's go. Once upon a time, there was an alien designer. And every day, the alien experimented. Then one day, she discovered an agile tool called Scrum. From that day onwards, she used Scrum to improve her workflow. And because of this, she learned a new language. So I'd like to just pause there on a specific thing on language. And language is a very important thing in culture and business and everywhere. If you don't understand a language, there's not much you can do further. So on the language part of it, as with anything new, we had to learn the language of Scrum. When I say we, I'm talking about the design studio at Oxford. We had to compare to what we knew in publishing and what it meant in Scrum. So we had to understand the definitions of all words, new words, and make sense of it. What we've done is we adapted that wording into terminology that made sense for us in our work process. So we need to understand it first before using it. It's very important. A lot of people use the words around, they don't really understand what it means. We wrote down every single word. We wrote down what it meant when something was done, when something was in progress, when something had an issue. And we all made sure that we understood what it meant before we actually started with it. So the design studio was the only one doing Scrum at the time. Still is now. It's more Kanban, I think, than Scrum, but everybody liked the word Scrum, so we just stuck with Scrum. We never had a Scrum Master or product owner. I ensured that Scrum values were kept by attending a lot of coaching circles and reading, I say a lot because I never read that much until I learned about Scrum. So, also, each team member was responsible and we were accountable for our own tasks. We each played the role of Scrum Master, and we each had to solve our own issues. We each had to do the job as well. Go to meetings, make sure your job is done on time. We played all those roles. So when I say that we had no real say of the jobs that came in the studio, I mean that we never had any ownership. So we had to a certain degree, yes, we could say, okay, we can't really do the job, but the actual, in general, jobs came in and we had to do it. So ownership wasn't really there. So let's go back to the story. So all of this theory led to the boards. So this was our first board, and the main board, the Scrum board, the sprint board, which was recorded. And we had 4 columns here, as you can see, the 4 columns. Our first column was the designers' names. And this board evolved from, I think we started in 2009. And it evolved each time. Each designer would come along and say, no, let's make this prettier. Designers like things pretty.
Such a neat board.
So it was pretty, but we also like things practical and made sense. So in the end, it was kind of pretty practical in the end. We also had all the Scrum principles, values, which was very important to us to have on top there. The one thing that I added in, because it's actually 5 principles, but I've added in another one. So I made it 6. I felt that trust is very important in business, in a team. And I think through respect, courage, commitment, openness, and focus, do you get trust. So yeah, we put that in. So the sprint board worked exactly like the sprint board. We met every day for 10 minutes, from 10 to 9 to 9 o'clock. And each designer would say this thing for 10 minutes only. If any designer went over time, the other designer would be like, come on here. So it was always only for 10 minutes, and we had this how it worked. We had the progress, so this is the jobs that's in progress. And then you had the column issues. Issues was again defined as in what is an issue. So an issue is for us was that if you cannot go further with your job and there's something else that's holding you up, that means that that's an issue. Done, we had to define very carefully because in book publishing it's a long process until a book is actually completed. So done meant that when the job was actually signed off by the editor, by the publisher, by everybody involved, and it was sent to the print, and it was archived as well. That's done. So when designers finally got to this column, they were really excited. Done. So you also see the colors. There's a color code for each designer. Like I said, designers, colors. We love colors. So each designer chose a color. That was me there, green, which was very helpful. With the other boards in the studio, I'll show you the other board. That when you walk into the studio, you immediately see, okay, the green, the shine, okay, you'll see how much stickies are still there, how much jobs needs to be done, and how it moves along all the boards. So that was our Scrum board, and it was really, really a good thing for the team because it really created a trust environment, like I said, for the design team. Before designers always works, they work in, everyone else to see this stuff. Whereas after we done Scrum, everyone was open and could see, what everybody else was doing, so it felt safer. So that was our Scrum board. The backlog board, this was the other board, product backlog, I think, in software. So we kind of done it in two ways. The two main things for this board. The first one was that it acted like a waiting station, like a docking station. So you see all these jobs here. Okay, this is the bad example. This wasn't so empty. It was a lot fuller. This jobs on this side, on the left side, was all the jobs that's going to happen, which hasn't come into progress yet. It hasn't reached the Scrum board yet. So those would sit there, and you would know how much work still has to be done. So that was the first thing. It's a waiting station for work that had to be done. Then it also served as where jobs went into progress, you went into circulation. So circulation, when I say circulation, I mean it's going for proofing. Proofing, I don't know if software or people are aware, it's like testing. When you're sending a product out for testing, we send out our designs for proofing. So we send it to editorial, we send it to the publishers, and it goes around for like a couple of days to a week. And when that job is in circulation, we know it's in circulation because it's got a little red dot. You can see it here, but it's got a little red dot. So one red dot means it's in first circulation. 3 red dots means it's in third circulation. So you'll know how far and how many times that job has been around and around, And it also helped a lot when designers were sick, maybe. Then you know exactly where the job is. If the job wasn't started, it would be sitting here. If the job was in proofing stage, it would have a little red dot. If the job was in progress, well, it would be on the Scrum board. So you'll know exactly where it is in the system. And the jobs on this side, that was just something we kind of made up in the studio ourselves, that the jobs that sit here, it means that they've said now they put it on hold. It hasn't gone out of the system yet. It might come back. It just means that it's on hold for now. So that was our backlog book, and it was really helpful in the beginning when we started Scrum. Everybody, it really smoothed out the process. But I think later on, it kind of just fell away because people knew exactly where things needed to go. So this was helpful in the beginning. That's our backlog, and then our next board is the Creeper board, which is not familiar in Scrum. It's something that we created in the studio ourselves. And we named it Creeper because it's for jobs that creeps into the system. Jobs that creep into the planned workflow that you still have to do. So we started, there's a lot of times people come to you every day and they say, I can't just do this job for me quickly, it'll take you 10 minutes, that happen often. And we couldn't discard it, but we wanted to record the data as well. We didn't want to just let it slide. So we decided, okay, let's put it in the board. And one of the designers made up a little icon-y like spider, because it creeps into the system. And this one we done according to a project management system. How we estimated, we done it through estimates. So it's very rough kind of get a rough idea of how long it's going to take. So what would happen is somebody comes and says, I need this job to be done now quickly. Plus you still got your other planned work that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, fine. I'll do it quickly for you. As a designer, you know how long that job is going to take you. So you say, okay, fine, this job will take me, let's say 2 hours. Cool, okay, I'll do it. So you say, you stick it on there, you say, okay, this job's going to be 2 hours. I worked it out on a Fibonacci numbering system. So between 1 and 3, I noted that that would be the low difficulty jobs. Between 5 and 13 would be medium difficulty, it would take so many days. Between 21 and 34 it would be high difficulty, and that might take you 4 to 5 days to complete. So you would got your job, you say it take about 2 hours, and you choose a number. So okay, 2 hours would be about 1. So you go, it's got the person's name, each designer's name. And you say, cool, okay, it'll take me 1, it's like 2 hours. But that job took a day. It didn't have taken a day, it's 2 hours. So what we done in the end was actually just record the hours and the days each month. So each month we'll have a new little board up to record that data. And the whole point of this recording the data was to take it to our manager at the end of the day, to take it to the directors to say that, look, this is the planned workflow. We're doing this, and we're doing this work on top of the planned work as well. But what I didn't realize is, so what? So what are we doing this work on top of the planned work? We're finishing it. What's the problem? So I think the lesson that I learned from this is that when you are recording data, when you're doing things with management, make sure it makes sense to them. Make sure that you explain it correctly to them. So in the end, I think the lesson for me was that it actually made me aware, it made the team aware. When extra jobs come in, somebody tells you to do something, you think about it first. And because we had to record every single thing, it made us, forced us to think about it first. How much time this actually took on top of everything else I'm doing? So it made the team aware of how much they were actually doing on top of everything else. So that was really good exercise for us as a team. So until finally, there was more tools. The burn down chart. So the burn down chart is something that I heard about in a coaching circle that I went to at the following days. And it's, I think in Scrum and software, it is more for you guys to have estimate how much a team can take on, if I got that correct. How much the team can actually do. Whereas we couldn't do that really because we needed ownership over the jobs. So what I've done instead was I used it as a tracking tool and a more visual thing to see how work is actually coming in and how it's actually going down to when it should go to print, to deadline. So this was like about 45 spec designs that we had to do, and we had 8 weeks to do it in. And spec designs is like when you design the inside of a book. So you lay out what it's going to look like, the chapter openers and your contents page and what body fonts you're going to use and all those things. It was 45 we had to do in a span of 8 weeks. It was supposed to come, as you can see, it was supposed to come in the first week. It only came in that week, the 4th week, which means that the studio was sitting for 3 months waiting for work. And the downward spiral was good, like quite normal, it's supposed to be. But then at the end, everything goes like crunch time, and, it gets stuff burned, and, which is kind of necessary when stuff could have come in earlier. But that's the way it goes in business, and, things that happen. So what I should do is go down to each designer and see how far they are, so we can check, on visually on the graph how far we are, how we're doing. But then what happened is I just asked this, team, do you find value and purpose out of this thing? I mean, it was stuck on the wall by the Scrum board, and they always said like no, So we tossed it. We didn't work at it anymore because it wasn't serving its purpose. But it was a good visual nonetheless. How many people have heard of Nico? Okay. I first learned about Nico from Paul and actually one of coaching circles again. And Nico is a Japanese word for smiling calendar. And it's still used to track the mood of the team. So why do you want to track the mood of the team? I mean, really, does it really matter? Well, it did to us in the design studio. And this was our first one that came up with one designer's design, a little note thingy. It was about 8.5 size. and each designer got one. So you will have a month, you will have your name, that wasn't transparent, to put your name on. And you put a little smiley face next to each day. So by the end of the day, you say, okay, I wasn't really happy today. No, I wasn't. But you'll actually note on specific days why you weren't happy or why you were, sad. And then after a while, we realized, what's the point of this? If we just do it for ourselves, we're hiding it, and the rest of the team is not knowing how the rest of the team is doing. So we decided, okay, let's make it more transparent. Let's do it like our Scrum board, where you have the designs. I don't have a printout of it, but let's do it like the Scrum board. We have the designers' names and their faces, everybody can clearly see. And you have the little yellow round circles next to each of the names across each month. And as they leave for the day, they'll stop on the Scrum board because we're stuck about the Scrum board. And you'll say, oh, I was happy today. I was good today. So that was really interesting. It was really interesting to see how many people actually were willing to be that transparent. Because you often find a manager coming in, checking, looking, forward. And I think some people weren't really comfortable with that, and they remain neutral most of the time. Most of the time. So maybe it wasn't a good idea to have it so transparent. We should have had it anonymous perhaps. Maybe they would work there. So that wasn't used for management, for data, that was just for interest sake for the team to know how we were feeling at a certain time. And what pointed out to me from that was that during a certain period, designers weren't happy because we were doing work we didn't like. And we all were very aware of it, but that made it even more weird. We didn't like that doing that specific type of work. And so and the one thing I just want to point out is the mood. And a lot of people say that the numbers in business is very important, and yes, it is important. But you've got to remember that feelings in business is just as important as the numbers. Because if your team isn't happy, then everybody knows this, they're not going to be productive. So, that's our Nico. Is there any questions?
Can we get copies of that template? Very pretty. Designers have the best.
So our retrospective, I done a retrospective for the team, it was for the design team and production team. This was really fun. I've never had anything like it before. So I used I used a combination of her stuff. I used the 4Ls boards, which the people really liked. They really liked it. And a lot of positivity and thoughts and ideas came out of this retrospective. I also ran it through a theme, an Alice in Wonderland theme. That's as you can see, Manhattan and little cupcakes. So that was really, really nice. I think people really enjoyed it. It's just what I found the problem with that afterwards is that the action of those ideas was a problem. Certain people that would take it on and certain people that just never had the time. People get busy and they just don't have the time. So don't know what the solution would be for that, but other than that, it was a good thing for the team. The end of the boards. So why Scrum? Well, I introduced Scrum because the changes that the Department of Education was making to the school curriculum at the time was a very hectic time for publishing throughout. That was like 4, 5 years ago or something. And because the current work system that we had in the studio was too weak to handle that kind of work that was going to come our way, because the design team needed better support, because it was a cool experiment and that led to many, many, many things. Mainly, here we go, behind the scenes. So I got lots of advice. Everything that I've done, it was never done alone. I had ideas, but I always checked it with the Scrum community through either coaching circles or anybody. There was always some kind of support that I would always check on that. And the first advice that I got on Scrum was through my husband. When I came over and I told him, I don't know what we're going to do and how we're going to handle this workload that's coming our way. And then he mentioned Scrum, and I was like, what's that? And from there, it just kind of grew. And I met up with Carl Kruger as well in the very beginning, and he gave me some advice about how to do board setup. And it was really cool. But the best advice he gave me was that I got to get into the scrum meetings, get involved in the meetings. It's the only way you can learn and read. You know, you told me read scrum manifesto. I did. I read it. So yeah, that was everything. And everything since then, everything just grew and grew and grew. And talking of growing agile. Growing Agile is a partnership between Samantha Lang and Colin Reeves, and they provide coaching and support and training to help find the right path for organizations. But if you want to find out more about them, Growing Agile, let's see what's there. And I went on a course with them, a Scrum Master's course last year, and it was such an awesome course. It's so inspirational. I've never left from a course feeling on a high that much after I left this course. And since then, I've learned so much, I've gotten so much advice from both of them. I struggle to be big with the slide. So I just want to say thank you to you guys. You guys have done a lot. And this was just pictures taken on the course. There was only 3 of us, myself, Alicia, and Chris, and it was really this close-knit course, which just made you feel safe and trust, and you could really speak up. And it taught me about myself, taught me about my team, taught me my organization, taught me about Agile, everything. And it was really, really worthwhile. The facilitation, the techniques used was awesome. So if you can go to one of the courses, please do. I highly recommend it. And there's just one thing that I just want to say about them is that, and I'm reading a business book right now, it says, find a business owner happy to help you is not finding gold. You don't find it often. People don't want to share. So, yeah, go check them out. Go Agile, let's see what they do. And then books, some of the books I've read, Drive by Daniel H. Pink. It's a book of motivation. Carter actually recommended me that I should read that book. Awesome book, motivation, intrinsic motivation, find your purpose. And getting things done by David Allen is simply that, it's just getting things done. You know, sometimes we procrastinate getting things done. This just gives you like a clear sort of equation or whatever, just to like work out how to get things done quickly. Purple Cow, don't know if anybody knows Purple Cow, Seth Godin, awesome guy, marketing guru, inspirational talk. Writing That Works is by the former CEO and executive director of Ogilvy and Mather. Very good book, simple, fun book, which was awesome for me. And it just teaches you simple things like how to write a professional email. Simple things. Leader's Guide to Radical Management by Stephen Denham. I'm sure a lot of people might not know this book, but this was also recommended by Carl Kruger and a lot of people in Scrum. And I think one of the books that actually led me to resign. It really points out a lot of things. To Sell is Human is a new book by Daniel H. Pink. One of the motivations and inspiration behind this presentation is from this book. So that's also a book which Sam actually recommended. So my new journey, I resigned from Masters. End of last year, I started my own business. I'm a book and layout artist. And yeah, it's been 6 months and it's been really, really interesting. So yeah, that's my new journey. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them just now. My new journey, my new boss. Yeah, she likes my days a lot. And sometimes my new boss can get a bit angry. Wow, no, she was nervous. Did you enjoy the popcorn? Yes. And I like to just end with this quote, it's that Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Sometimes we make things too complicated or complicated, and just keep things simple. Thank you. Some credits to some people, and thank you to everybody, and thank you to whoever I've left off. Thank you, and KRS, and there's some other stuff here you can read while you're having drinks and stuff. So.
I have a question. Did you continue to use visual markers and visual boards for yourself when you moved into your own business?
No.
Why not?
Well, I've got a chalkboard,
Right.
and I started writing things on there, but I don't know, maybe it's the team that I missed that. I must say, oh, it's a real different thing. So, I just write things down every single day. So Monday I got my list of things, Tuesday, that's how I do it now. I don't do it before. And I was thinking, I've got one. I think I should start personal planning. I tried. I did. I don't know. Just
Something about routine. That's the
I think
difference.
so. I think so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which book exactly made you resign?
Which
book made you resign?
Oh, The Leader's Guide to Medical Management. Stephen Denning. It talks about traditional management. It talks about, you know, a lot of interesting stuff.
Does your team at Oxford still use the board?
This Crystal is one of the signs that works with me at Oxford. She's also left since then. No. They do have a board
I think
setup.
they should. I think they should use it.
They should, but they have something, but it's not Scrum.
Are there any Scrum things that you still use in your new business? Any?
I think just the whole way of working agile, which is work smarter, not harder. Yeah, I think that's really, and yeah.
If you had one big mistake introducing Scrum at Oxford, what was it? What do you regret about the way you went about it?
Not carrying through. Like when I introduced all these things, I just presented it to the directors, like they're there. Yeah. I never had maybe proper talk or wording or marketing behind it. I don't know. I just couldn't explain things like they should. I think it could have gone forward.
I don't have a question, I just have a statement. I think since the first day I met you, I thought that you were exceptionally brave to be taking Scrum into a non-software area where I remember you came to one of our coaching circles and the rest of us were all struggling to do Scrum in our IT environment, all the IT lingo and all the words to help us. And you'd sit there and you'd go, so if it's this in IT, what does that mean? And we had like every word is like a 5-minute discussion for us to understand how to work with books and figure out what the equivalent was.
What is a release plan?
And it was just, and you didn't stop. You were relentless that you wanted to do this and you were going to try it, and you're very brave for all that.
I think what I wanted so much, I was so desperate for solutions all the time. When things didn't work, I just needed to find a solution to make it better for the team, for the workflow. I was just so desperate for that. But if a company is structured in a certain way, heavily, I think you need more than that to kind of break through those tools. You need definitely buy-in, big time. Anything else?
Well, thank you very much, Charlotte. I think it's three things are kind of important when you want to be good in what you're doing. I think that's learning, and teaching, and doing. All the three things at the same time. And I think the way you've presented your journey, that you follow that principle 100%. Brilliant, I really love it. Thank you very much. Thanks again, sponsors, KRS for the food. I think we all would like to try it right now. And for the wine, we're going to try that as well. Thanks again, enjoy the networking, and hope to see many of you next month. And don't forget to nominate yourself for the next